Hello guys, it's Alex from Investary. Welcome to a 35th basic Python tutorial. In the last tutorial we learned how to create a simple GUI and get the GUI onto the screen with the root window. Well, now let's add a label, or basically writing something onto what we had on the window. So we already have this right here, and I'm going to change the title of this to label, and then I'm gonna have the geometry 200 by 50. We don't need it to be that big. Still have the root equals tk, but now what we want to do is have something called a app. So app equals frame, and this creates the frame. And put in root for it, because we set root right here. And what this does is it creates the frame, and it allows you to hold other widgets. And what widget we want is a label. So now, in order to create a label, let's call label equals and this is a widget. It's make sure the L is capital, A and BEL, spell exactly like that. Pass in app, which we set right here, and then put whatever text that you want. So I'm gonna say this is a label, and close the parentheses. And then we want to put it into the grid. Make sure it's actually visible. So let's do label.grid, and basically all that does is put what we had here. This is a label onto the window that we have. So if you save it and run it, you should see this label, and you can see this has been changed. But what you still need to do is put under here, you need to put the app into the grid. So app.grid. This is something that I should have done probably before, because you gotta put the frame in the grid as well, or else it's not gonna show it. And then you have this. This is a label, and that's exactly what we had here. This is a label. So that's basically it for labels. Labels are basically something that, it can be displayed on a GUI. Now I want to talk about buttons. Buttons, I'm gonna basically have the same thing here. We still need the app and the grid. However, we won't. Let's get rid of the label here. And pause the video if you still need the label. And what we want to do to create a button is, I'm going to do button 1 and set that equal to button, and the previous one that we used was label and it was capital. Same thing with button, make sure the B is capital, and then pass an app, and then I'm going to have a text that says this is a button, and then we're going to put the button on the grid so it shows up. Now let's create a second button, and another way of doing this is just having button, let's say 2 equals to button, and you can just pass an app and not have the text at all, and you can put that on the grid. And in order to actually, have something, or like if you want to put text into button 2, then you can do a method called configure. And in order to do that, you do button2.configure. Make sure you spell that exactly how I did it. Text equals this will show text, let's say, and that will work as well. And another way, a third way of putting text on a button is by let me set up a button 3 button, pass an app. You have to have app or else it's not going to work. app is a frame for it. And then gotta place it onto the grid. And then you can do button 3 in brackets, have text, and then set that equal to this. Well, this can be anything right here. This will show up as well. And you can it's sort of like a dictionary type interface right there, but that's just the option. This is the text option right there, and you can run it to see that actually works. Name button is not, oh yeah, and I forgot one here. Alright, once we run it, you can see how here you have 3 buttons, and I probably should have changed the geometry for this because I had it 50. So if you made it, let's say 100, you'll see all of it at once. This is a button. This will show up text. This will show up as well, and you can see this is button 1, 2, and 3. However, if you click these buttons, nothing will happen because obviously we didn't make anything happen. But yeah, that's it for this tutorial, guys. You learned how to create buttons as well as creating labels, and make sure you have that frame as well and put everything in the grid method, because if you don't, it's not going to show up. So that's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we'll be working more with GUI. If you have any questions, leave that in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.